Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Burger. In this video I'm going to rank every game on the Taito Edition of the Super Pocket. That's all 18 games from worst to best in my opinion. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, now starting from the worst, or the game that I least like, probably the best way of putting it. And this is obviously quite a tough choice because there's a lot of really good games on here. There's a few I probably didn't like or didn't enjoy as much as the rest. But the one I've sort of chose as my least favourite game is Chck Pop. I really haven't enjoyed it much at all. I find it a tricky game to play. This is one of their older titles that's on the device, but I just found it was just a bit tricky and just didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. And I guess the idea is to obviously release the hearts from the cage that these ghosts have actually captured, and then you have to try and somehow make your way through this maze, and it's really tricky. The controls are very annoying, to be honest. You can drop these kind of bombs and try and like not kill yourself. You need to try and kill the ghost monsters, but it's just really frustrating to play through. Ideally you want to try and kill those monsters while they're still in those eggs, because if you don't it's going to make your life a lot more difficult otherwise. But sort of moving up and down, the controls are very odd. And yeah, I just have to say I really didn't enjoy playing through this one at all. Definitely my least favourite game. And it's probably more so down to the controls more than anything else. So you need to release the hearts. That then goes up to the top. Yeah, but it's such a tough title. Now, like a lot of the games on the Taito collection, a lot of the games, once you actually finish or game over, you can't actually continue from where you left off. It just game over, you need to start from the beginning all over again, and that's quite frustrating. There are a few that are an exception to that rule, but for the best part a lot are basically what you get. Once you finish, that's it, game over. I don't really get it. It'd be great just to put in a coin and continue from where you left off. Obviously we've got the save states, I guess, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, next on the list guys, it's Kiki Kai. So certainly one of the reasons why I've put this here is the fact that it's such a small screen. It's really meant to be played in Tate mode, but playing on this small screen, if I put it further away, it's pretty hard to look at. You can play it full screen, but I don't really know if you can play it like that. It does look a bit odd. I'm pretty sure this is a decent game. I think if you play this in the correct way, it would be good, but yeah, it's definitely a questionable choice why they put it on here, given it's such a small screen and pretty tricky to play through. Now, like I said, you can actually change the screen to full screen, and sometimes you can get away with it, but you can tell it just looks a little bit stretched. It's too stretched for me to be even enjoyable. I think I probably prefer playing it this way than the sort of smaller screen, because it's really tricky to see what you're doing. And obviously at the end of these levels there are bosses as well, which I found pretty tricky to get past. I guess I just need to keep moving. But the fact it's just one hit and you die, very frustrating. Okay, next up on the list, this is number 16, and there's quite a few games like this on here. This is a single screen game, and this is definitely my least favourite of the single screen games on this collection. So I really just didn't enjoy this one as much as some of the other games on the Taito collection. But yeah, it starts off okay, but I kind of got a bit frustrated and just bored. Yeah, I think it's definitely the poorest of the single screen games on this collection. You might disagree and you might actually rate this higher, which is fine, but personally I just didn't think it was that great at all. Kind of, it just feels like it goes on, and from this point it certainly gets harder, where the enemies are jumping all over the place and the dragons or whatever they are there are breathing fire at you, so it causes a lot of frustration. But I'm not really that keen on this game at all. I kind of got bored and fed up with it. Okay, moving on to number 15 on the list, and unfortunately I've chosen the original Space Invaders. Now yes, it's a classic and it deserves to be on here, but I'm not really a big fan, especially the original version. I don't really feel it's that much fun to play in this day and age. kind of get bored. I mean, it's fair enough playing it for a quick, maybe a couple of minutes, but after that you get bored. It's pretty much just keep pressing the button. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this is boring. It's obviously part of their history and it's fine, but in 2023, I don't know, not for me. It's like pretty slow paced, pretty boring. Can we get the UFO at the top? Nope. I'm pretty sure, like everyone, we've played this in some way, shape or form over the years and owned it in something. Might even have been one of the first games I ever played back in the early 80s, I guess, but yeah, I don't really have a lot of nostalgia for it. Based on that, I really think this is just boring. I think there's far better games to be playing on your Super Pocket. Okay, we're on to number 14 on the list, and the game I've chosen next is The Legend of Kagi or Kagi. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but let's have a look at it. This one is a weird game. I don't think it's that clear what you're supposed to do. It feels like you're trying to find something in the forest, then move on to the next stage. But it's a lot of kind of jumping and wandering about, trying to stay alive, climbing the trees, don't get hit, that type of thing. Not entirely sure the best way of playing it, just keep moving, keep jumping, keep firing. It's so bizarre. Enemies just randomly appear all over the place. Not got a clue what's going on, not really got a clue what to do. Yeah, it's weird. Very, very weird. I'm not sure I've got the greatest strategy here at all, but I found like that's probably the best way is just keep on moving. Climb the trees, try and find, I don't know what it is we're trying to find, but someone can probably tell me what I'm trying to find. Certainly find this one quite challenging, I guess, and I'm not really sure what exactly I'm supposed to do. Climb the sort of buildings here, get to the top. I really don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's so weird. Am I going up, going down? It's a weird one for me. Okay, and at number 14, and I almost probably rated this one my least favourite game, but after playing it for quite some time, I kind of got to enjoy it, and this is Voli. So yeah, sadly this is another game that is that kind of vertical aspect ratio, but it's completely unplayable like that for me, and that's probably why I haven't rated it any higher. You can play it full screen, but it does stretch pretty badly. But personally I prefer playing it this way rather than the other way, so I can actually see what's happening. Now the idea is obviously try and fill up the screen as best as you can. Maybe try and catch the monsters, catch the snake without actually dying. Weird game, very, very weird. I think you can actually fire as well, so I guess you need to fill up the screen in a certain percentage. While I get around this. Oh, nope. So just keep plugging away at it and we'll maybe eventually we'll cover enough of the screen so we can actually finish it. Or not. So, it's definitely one of the most frustrating things about a lot of these games. You just can't press A, insert a coin and just continue from where you left off. You basically game over, you need to start again. A lot of the games are like that on the Taito collection here, which is a little bit frustrating, I would say. I have no idea what's going on, to be honest. Oof. Where am I? Oof. Certainly pushing my luck there, aren't I? Not sure what percentage I need to actually fill up the screen before it actually goes on to the next stage, but anyway, It's not bad. I've played it more than I thought I would, that's for sure. Okay guys, next on the list we're at number 12, and this is the other Space Invaders game, Space Invaders 91. Now this is the only game that's not arcade version. This is the Mega Drive or Genesis version of the game, and it's definitely a lot more fun to play than the original. But again, I still feel as if it's one of those games I'm going to play briefly and then I'll probably never come back. But if you like this type of thing, then you might rate this one higher. Certainly faster paced than the original Space Invaders, and it's obviously a wee bit more advanced given the fact it was made a heck of a lot later than the original Space Invaders. But still, I'm not very good at it. One of the things I don't like here is you can barely see the ship over the sort of earth there. It's kind of a hidden, so you're not exactly sure where you're at. And frustrating, you lose your life, it starts all over again. You think, just why exactly? It's certainly punishing poor players like me. But yeah, I think we'll move on guys. Basically this is what it is. It's not really a massive favourite of mine, but it's certainly better than the original for me. Okay, on to number 11, and this is Doy Dawn. This is another one of those single screen games. This one is actually quite good fun, but it gets extremely hard as you go on through the game. The first few levels are actually really good fun to play through. However, I got pretty stuck quite quickly. Initially though, it is a lot of fun. Not sure who I am, it looks like I'm Santa Claus or something. Yeah, I definitely think this device is perfect for these type of games, those single screen games that are lovely and colourful, great sound. I just wish they weren't so blinking difficult sometimes. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, for goodness sake. The slightest touch and you die. Pretty similar to most single screen games of the same type. One slight touch and you'd game over. Certainly it is very challenging the further you get in. You can probably use those save states, I guess. But things are so ferocious at times that you just don't really remember, or you kind of forget, or you've got too much to do. Anyway, it's a fun game, but yeah, a bit too tricky for me. Okay, into the top 10 now, and the game I've chosen, it certainly starts to get more difficult from this point, but the game I've chosen at number 10 is Rastan. Now I know a lot of people love this game and they'll probably rate it a lot higher than myself. But I kind of got a bit stuck, got a bit frustrated at constantly getting sent back. But it's certainly a fun game to play through. I did enjoy it to a point. I'm not saying I'm the greatest at it, to be honest, but it is good fun to play through. It's certainly a blast. I just got stuck quite a few times playing it. And I kind of get frustrated with the fact that it sends you back quite some way sometimes when you die. And yeah, I don't know why the guy can't swim. Like I say, you're sent all the way back to the beginning again to redo it if you get stuck. And that kind of just starts to frustrate the bejesus out of me. So yeah, eventually once you get some progress, it certainly gets very challenging. And yeah, I really need to probably be more careful while I play the game. I just wish there was maybe more health lying about that would help me a little bit. Oh, some of these guys just don't want to die. Oh! Like I say, very frustrating getting sent all the way back again, having to redo certain stages. Maybe I just need to be a little bit more careful when I'm going, but the bad guys just seem to keep on coming, so take your time, go fast, I don't know. Oh dear, probably not how we should play it. Those tricky jumping stages, yeah, So frustrating. Okay guys, and at number 9 is Operation Wolf. Now I was very tempted to actually rate this higher than I have. And this game has no reason to be any better than it should be, given the fact it's a crosshair shooter, but it definitely works a lot better than I expected it to. Now given the fact that this is an arcade game, just like every other game apart from Space Invaders 91, all the games are tricky and they're meant to basically be coin guzzlers and get as much money out of you as possible. So they are obviously on the difficult side. But as I said, I really enjoyed playing this one a lot more than I thought it would. The cursor on screen is certainly quite responsive and it works better than you would expect. It is quite a challenge though, certainly like all the other games on this collection, it is very challenging. The first level's easy enough I guess to sort of complete, as long as you concentrate. Lose concentration, you will lose a lot of life pretty quickly and you will have to start all over again. I'd say my favourite game of this type of genre was always Cabal. I absolutely loved Cabal at in the arcades, it was fantastic. Yeah, I'm not very good. What? Superb. Anyway, let's move on. Okay guys, we're on to number 8, and the one I've chosen next is Elevator Action. Given the fact this is quite an old title, I felt that the controls are a little bit sticky. Pressing up and down sometimes was a bit troublesome. It's nothing to do with the device, I just felt that was the game. Sometimes I was trying to duck, it wouldn't duck, so I got a bit frustrated with it. But still, I could see where people would enjoy this game and try to make progress. Obviously using those save states certainly helped a little bit. What I like about this game is the fact that, yeah, when you die you get pretty much carry on from where you left off, which is pretty cool, but obviously once you run out of coins that will be it. But yeah, sometimes when you're ducking it kind of feels a bit sticky. But yeah, it's a cool game, very good fun for a quick blast. I'm just hanging about here waiting. Oh yeah, sometimes it's probably strategically better waiting on these guys coming up and taking them out then, rather than doing the opposite. Getting in the lift while they're waiting for you, because they can pick you off far too easily, I felt. And yeah, you can go into those red doors, get some bonus points. But obviously at the moment I'm really just trying to finish the game, finish this stage. I'm getting somewhere at least. And eventually, once you get to this stage, you can escape in your car. No idea what's going on though. Okay, next we're on to number 7. And at number 7, if I can find it, it's Liquid Kids. Now this is probably the only game that has an issue I felt on this device. The intro scene here seems to have some sort of stuttering going on, but the full game that I've been through so far seems absolutely fine. It's just the intro. Not sure why that's happening, but it does happen. Hopefully that'll get fixed in a future firmware update, I guess, when that ever happens. I'm sure they'll pencil that in for the start of the new year, which we'll cover and help you try and update your device when it does happen. Absolutely love this game, it is very cool. It obviously feels a bit like a bubble bobble style game, but it's a kind of level structure rather than a single screen. Great fun, very easy to pick up, and it's a laugh, but it does get really tricky, as you would probably expect given the fact it's an arcade game. It doesn't really feel like your typical arcade style game. It certainly feels more like a console based game for me. But yeah, I actually only discovered this game a couple of years ago and absolutely loved it. It certainly pleasantly surprised me. So it's certainly nice to see it on this device as one of the games. It's terrific stuff. I could probably have rated this higher. I kind of felt I got to the maybe top 7, 8 and it started to get very difficult where to actually place the games. I think really the top 10 could be in any order. And obviously if you disagree with me, that's absolutely fine, because it's a personal choice at the end of the day. Everyone's top 18, top 5, top 8 will be completely different depending on what game styles you actually like. This is one of the, I think this is the first boss in the game. Initially I thought it was actually pretty hard, but then I realised it was actually pretty easy. The trick is really just to sort of hover about this sort of screen here a few times and press that, and it was far more easier than I expected. Oh, select the door. Oh, you've got a choice where to go. There's no doubt this is a really cool game, and I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it again. It's certainly one of those games I'll definitely play it again and again. And make that progress, certainly using those save states, that's for sure. Okay, we're on to number 6, and the next game on my list is, if I can find, there's so many games, yep, here it is here, Kadash. Now, like I said about Liquid Kids, I really could have rated this higher. It was just getting very tough as I got into the sort of latter stages of the games. There's so many decent games on this collection. Now this one kind of plays like some kind of RPG console game rather than an arcade game. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed playing through this. It's good fun. There's no doubt Kadash is a really good game. I'm not really sure what the time limit's all about. Kind of just frustrates me, to be honest. But you've got a time limit to complete each of these games. Sorry, each of these stages that you're fighting in. And then some kind of horrible evil skullhead completely comes down and wipes you out. I'm sure that's part of the story. But yeah, you kind of wonder why this should be any good, because you're basically just running, slashing, jumping, that type of thing. But it's actually good fun to sort of walk through and experience. Bit frustrating occasionally. And then you get some bosses like this thing. What the heck is it? It's weird. After you got potions, you can help revitalise yourself as well, which is kind of cool. It obviously definitely feels more like a RPG console game of some sorts, rather than an arcade title. But yeah, I think it's really cool, and I've certainly enjoyed playing through it. I could have easily rated this a lot higher than I have. Very text heavy at times, but you can clearly see that it's perfectly readable. Certainly you can see that the clock is constantly ticking, so it's not obviously advisable to linger about anywhere. When you get to this little village, you can sort of get yourself some more potions, up your weapons, that type of thing. Or just ignore it and just keep going. But it looks fantastic, sounds really nice, and it's really fun to play. I'd certainly highly recommend this one. Okay guys, that leaves us down to the top 5, and this is where it gets even harder at this point. So at number 5, I've chosen the New Zealand story. I initially played this long time ago on the C64, and it was just as good then, but it was very tricky. But with save states, it certainly makes things a lot more bearable in this game. Obviously you're trying to rescue, I don't know, your friends, I guess. I'm not sure they're relatives, but yeah, you're trying to basically rescue your friends. And then you get boss battles, the usual type of thing through the levels. Very cutesy and very fun to play. Love the soundtrack as well, great graphics. And yeah, it's very cool. Easy to get lost on these levels too though. And yeah, eventually you will reach the end and save one of your friends. There's no doubt sometimes the level structure makes things pretty tricky to actually go through. And there's no doubt I definitely got stuck more than once. There is a big arrow, you can see on the left here, there is a map that sort of tells you where to go. So you kind of have that to follow, which is obviously quite helpful. But obviously getting there, it's a different story. Pretty tricky. Now, thankfully with this one, there is no time limit. So you can really just take your time and make your way through without dying. Oh, and without having to go all the way back to the beginning again. And as I said, there are boss battles as well, which they're very, very hard. You've got so much things to actually avoid here, which I'm not good at. I think it's all about staying alive. Oh no, you go inside the mouth, don't you? And you, I guess you try and do something, try and stay alive as well, as long as you possibly can. But yeah, it's very tough. I love this game, and I'll certainly keep playing again. But it's very tough, there's no doubt about it. It is a tough, tough challenge. Okay, so we're now at number 4. And yeah, it certainly gets a little bit trickier from here, but definitely at number 4, it's Growl. So absolutely love playing through this. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up, really good fun. Sadly, yeah, it's obviously a multiplayer game as well, but we can only play single player, so a little bit disappointing there, but what a fantastic game this is. One of the things that certainly struck me about this game is the amount of things going on and the amount of enemies that you have to face. It really gets unbelievable. Like, look at the amount of enemies that come onto the screen at the one time. I don't really recall another game that has that amount of enemies on the screen. And it gets worse as you go later into the game. It really should be some kind of Rambo character rather than Indiana Jones. Got special moves as you would expect, and loads of weapons. Love the speech samples going on throughout the game, it's pretty amusing. I could probably easily have rated this game higher as well, because it is absolutely fantastic. And amazingly, it's probably the first time I've actually played this game on these devices. Never played it previous to owning this Super Pocket. So there's obviously other characters that you can go throughout the game as well. I'm not sure it makes much difference, to be honest, which one you actually go. Like I said earlier, look at the amount of enemies on screen at one time. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, what a fun game this is. Absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I would recommend this one highly to anyone that's got one of these Super Pockets. Okay, so into the top 3 we go, and at number 3 it's Bubble Bobble. Classic game, absolutely brilliant. Easily could have been number 1, number 2. I guess a lot of the games could have been in any order, but at number 3 it's Bubble Bobble. Absolutely love this game. Soundtrack's brilliant too. Honestly, what's not to love? I think this device, this is the type of game that is brilliant for this type of device. Quick, easy play, and it looks fantastic. The colours definitely pop. There's no doubt once you get further into the game, it gets a pretty tricky affair. There's so many enemies on the screen, you kind of find yourself losing the life pretty easily. Obviously, if you take too long, then it starts to get even harder. But wow, what a great little game. I think one of the things I don't like about the game is that you can't just continue when you lose all your lives. You basically game over once you've run out all your lives. You can't just continue, insert a coin, continue, which is a bit crap, to be honest. I hate that in the games, but it is what it is, so you really have to just keep plugging away. Use the save states, I guess, as best as you can, and hopefully you can make progress. I think there's about, is it 99 levels or something? There are lots, and it just really keeps on going and going. It certainly is tricky though the further you get into the game, but what an amazing game this is. Okay, at number 2, it's Football Champ, which I could easily have picked as my number 1 favourite. I absolutely love this game and have loved this game since I discovered it in the early 90s in the arcades. Awesome stuff. I could play this all day long. So pretty straightforward. I think you've got a pass and a shoot button, and you can also punch kick the opponents, and it's pretty frustrating. It is pretty funny when you can kick the opponents, take them all out, take the referee out. Sometimes it's actually more fun than that than trying to score. Yeah, but it is a pretty tricky game. There is a few tricks to actually scoring easy enough goals, but sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating. You can just run about and not actually do a thing. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on in the little screen right enough, so it's not ideal, but it's such a fun game to play. I've always loved this. I guess if you don't like football, then you're probably not going to like this one too much, I guess, but I absolutely love it. So if you're lucky enough you make some progress. It certainly gets a bit harder as you'd probably expect, but still, it's so much fun. I certainly need to work on my tactics trying to score goals, that's for sure. Now that obviously only leaves one game, and this is definitely my favourite game on this collection on the Taito Edition here, but yeah, it's Puzzle Bobble. Definitely my favourite game. Again, I could easily have chose any of the games in the top 3, 5, it could have been in any order, but yeah, definitely enjoyed this one the most. I think this is certainly one of the games that suits these devices down to a T. Those kind of puzzle style games, single screen games, that type of thing. I guess it's something I'll need to cover in a future video, looking at the best games to play on this device. Obviously I have done a few videos like that before, and sort of best Evercade games to look at, and I'd say definitely puzzle games, stuff like this is perfect for this device. Can I get this in the first shot? No. Second? No. Yeah. Finally. I love this game. It's absolutely brilliant. Anyway guys, let me know what are your favourite games. Would you agree, disagree? Anything that you think I've been a bit harsh on, let me know, and we can discuss it in the comments. But I certainly think this is worthy of being the best game on the Taito edition of the Super Pockets. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.